Realize he trying to show you something. He trying to get your attention. That's a strong attention getter. He said, verse 9, I have smitten you with blasting and mildew. And when your gardens and your vineyards and your fig trees and your olive trees increase, he said, when they did increase, the palmer worm devoured them. Yet what? You have not returned unto me, said the Lord. Verse 10.
I have sent among you the pestilence after the manner of Egypt.
Diseases. He said, I gave you diseases. Still doing it today. Go ahead.
Your young men have I slain with the sword.
Oh, wait a minute. Your what? Your young men have I slain with the sword. See, God said he slayed some young men with the sword, brothers and sisters, right here. See, God don't have to come down off his throne and slay nobody with the sword, though, do he? How did God slay some young men with the sword? He let somebody else do it. See, God, how you going to act like God is not in control of a young man getting killed in the street? And then, don't nobody even feel guilty about it. Well, he shouldn't have been doing what he was doing. Maybe he shouldn't have been doing what he was doing, but did that call for the death penalty? But God said he did it. In God's judgment, he said, I'm giving you the death penalty. He said, I have sent among you the pestilence after the manner of Egypt. Your young men have I slain with the sword. Who did it? God did it, didn't he? Go ahead.
And have taken away your horses.
Uh-huh.
And I have made the stink of your camps to come up upon your nostrils.
Uh-huh.
Yet have ye not returned unto me, saith the Lord.
Sound like God trying to get Israel's attention, and we still won't listen, will we? That's why the title is Israel. Oh, Israel. When will we learn? He said he killed your young men with the sword. See, God got to be in control of it. Verse 11.
I have overthrown some of you, as God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
Not all. He has some mercy on some, but he said, I have overthrown some of you, as God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Go ahead.
And ye were as a firebrand plucked out of the burning. Mm-hmm. Yet have ye not returned unto me, saith the Lord.
See, the ones that escaped was like firebrand, plucked out the burning, but still the ones left don't return. Go ahead.
Therefore, thus will I do unto thee, O Israel.
He said, since you won't return, I'm hurting you bad. I'm hurting you real bad, O Israel. So now, and you still won't return, thus will I do unto thee, O Israel. Go ahead.
And because I will do this unto thee, prepare to meet thy God, O Israel.
He said, look, this is what been doing to you, and this is what I'm going to do unto you, O Israel. And because of that, prepare to meet your God, O Israel. Go ahead.
For lo, he that formeth the mountains, and createth the wind, and declareth unto man what his thought, that maketh the morning darkness, and treadeth upon the high places of the earth. Mm-hmm. The Lord, the God of hosts, is his name.
Hey, he the one got all the power. It can't happen without him. But we haven't learned this. With all this going on, we want to attribute to everybody but God. It don't work like that. Jeremiah 9, and we're going to pick it up at verse 12. This is all over the Bible. But we see Israel's problem is not serving God, not listening, getting the knowledge from God, and following it. Jeremiah 9, and we're going to pick it up at verse 12. Jeremiah 9 and 12. Okay, go ahead. When you get there, go ahead and read. Jeremiah 9 and 12. Go ahead.
Who is the wise man that may understand this? And who is he to whom the mouth of the Lord hath spoken? That he may declare it.
Declare what?
For what the land perisheth and is burned up like a wilderness, that none passeth through.
See, even when we was in our own land before we went into captivity, which he told you that was going to happen, he was bringing all this drama on us, left and right, hitting us upside the head left and right, and we still wouldn't return. So he asked the question, who is a wise man that may understand this? See, the Lord wants you to get some understanding about what's going on. Get some knowledge about what's going on. It's not a coincidence. And who is he that the mouth of the Lord hath spoken that he may declare it. See, this is what we doing. We declaring it. We declaring why we constantly in this bad situation. Why history keep repeating itself. We declaring it. This is what he was saying back here. Who is a wise man to whom the mouth of the Lord has spoken, that he may declare. Declare what at this time? For what the land perisheth. You know, why is Israel's land perishing? We don't have a land now, and we think that's okay. Who can declare why the land perished and burned up like a wilderness that none passed? Who can tell us why? Let's see why. 13.
And the Lord saith, because they have forsaken my law, which I have set before them.
Oh, same old story. And keep in mind, we got all these churches now that do the same thing. So has it gotten better? What we do, we keep perpetuating the problem. And then want to get out there and march. God ain't never told you to march that was the problem. That's not it. Then want to test stuff up. God didn't tell you to do that. You didn't solve nothing. Matter of fact, you made a longer distance to go to the store now for you. He didn't tell you to do that. That's not the answer. That wasn't the problem in the first place, so it can't be the solution. The problem is the reason why we jammed up. He said, the Lord said, because they have forsaken my law, which I set before them. That's what we've done. And kick against it to this day. Go ahead.
And have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein.
Go ahead.
But have walked after the imagination of their own heart.
That's what Paul was saying. We got a zeal of God, not according to knowledge. We won't repent and humble ourselves to God's righteousness. We establish our own. What we say is right is okay. Go ahead.
And after Balaam, which their fathers taught them.
And walk out to Balaam. That's a false god back in the day. We still worshiping Balaam today. That's one of the ways you got Sunday as the Sabbath day. The sun god. But he said walked out to Balaam, which their
fathers taught them.
See, we think we can serve God any kind of way, but no, if you're not doing what the Bible says, you serving another God. He said, don't have no other gods before me. He hate that. That's one of the things got us in trouble. And no preacher in none of our churches preaches about worshiping another God or serving God wrong, because you can do whatever. Look, that's what been got us in trouble. 15.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will feed them, even this people, with wormwood.
Look, see what God said? This is God talking, brothers and sisters. God said, I'm mad at you for not keeping my law. I'm going to feed you, okay? You know what I'm going to feed you with? Wormwood. I'm going to give you some wormwood to eat. I'm going to give you, see, that's why we've been thinking it was real good to eat some chitlins. We've been thinking that was good. Oh, let me get some hot sauce and put it on some chitlins. Look, God said he's going to feed you with some mess here, some wormwood. And what else? What he going to give you to drink?
And give them water of gall to drink.
And give them water of gall to drink. This one we was in our land, but he said, you ain't going to stay there. What you going to do? What he going to do? 16.
I will scatter them also among the heathen.
See, that's what he did. This is how we, at all these countries where we at, and we being mistreated in these countries. He didn't just scatter you so you could be normal like everybody else. That's why we got to try to get some rights, because he didn't scatter you to be like everybody else and be normal. God not going to let you be normal. He's not going to let Israel be like all the other people. God is on your back. See, God is something else. God kicked us out of our land, which he gave to us, his land. But that wasn't enough for God. What did he say? Read it, verse 16.
I will scatter them also among the heathen, who neither they nor their fathers have known.
Heathen mean nations. Go ahead.
And I will send a sword after them till I have consumed them.
See, God is something else, isn't he? God not just going to let you go. You know, most parents, God is our parent. Most parents, the best we can do, You got an unruly child. You got disobedient children. They get to a certain age, they don't want to obey. The best most parents can do is get them the boot. Look, get out of here. Kick them out, right? That's about the best a parent can do. But God he a rough parent. He gonna kick you out. He gave you the boot. He gave Israel the boot. Then he follow you around with that boot to all your friends' house and keep kicking your butt. Everywhere you go. That's what parents need to do nowadays. That's what I tried to do to my son. Hey, he ended up on the lead, but I'm like, I'm going to chase you around. I did for a while. He wore me out, though. But this is what God said, right? God said, read it again, because y'all don't hear me.
I will scatter them also among the heathen.
He said, I'm going to scatter Israel among the heathen. Go ahead.
Whom neither they nor their fathers have known.
To the nations, these lands that you didn't know nothing about. We didn't know nothing about no America, but we got scattered here down to the islands, all these countries where we at. Even in some African countries. We think we Africans. No, you didn't know nothing about those countries. But you got scattered among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known. And then what God do when he scattered you? Go ahead.
And I will send a sword after them.
And he got a sword following behind you. Go ahead.
Till I have consumed them.
Till he had consumed. That's what he doing. He consumed us. He going to save a remnant, but he study consumed us. That's why we got young brothers getting killed at will. 17.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider ye, and call for the mourning woman.
Boy, God is rough. Boy, y'all don't know this God. People don't know this God. You want to blame man, you better look to the one who got the control. God would tell you in advance. He said, look, thus said the Lord. He said, I want you to consider this. Consider what I'm saying and already do something for yourself. What did he say do? Call for who?
The mourning women.
Call for the mourning women. Go ahead.
That they may come. And send for cunning women. That they may come.
You see what God said? He said, look, I'm going to tell you, I'm getting ready to hurt you so bad. I'm going to hurt you. Get them good mourning women together. Because I'm going to give them something to cry about. This is what God is saying. He said, probably everybody in their family probably got a good mourning grandmother or auntie or somebody that really know how to set it off at a funeral. I'm talking about just go to town. Everything be quiet and all of a sudden they break. This is what God's saying. This is what he's saying. He said, look, do yourself a favor. Call them in advance. Call for the mourning women and that they may come, and send for the cunning women that they may come. And let them do what? 18.
And let them make haste and take up a wailing for us.
He said, let them make haste and get over here and take up a wailing for. See, this how I know. Hey, we're going to have some more mothers on TV crying for their children because God's not done. He says they may make haste and take up a wailing for us that what?
That our eyes may run down with tears and our eyelids gush out with water. For a voice of wailing is heard out of Zion. How are we spoiled?
How are we spoiled? We just destroyed. We robbed of everything. Go ahead.
We are greatly confounded because we have forsaken the land, because our dwelling have cast us out. Yet hear the word of the Lord, O ye women, and let your ear receive the word of his mouth, and teach your daughters wailing.
Wait a minute, go ahead.
And every one her neighbor lamentation.
See, he said, look, it ain't going to stop with y'all. He said, matter of fact, teach your daughters how to wail. See, this was study going on. But God is the author of it. He said, teach your daughters wailing, and everyone her neighbor lamentate. Teach them how to lament and mourn, because I've got some drama coming your way. I'm going to give you something to cry about for real. And this is what's going on. Every time you turn around, we got mothers on TV crying for the young men that have been slain. Why is that? Go ahead, 21.
For death has come up into our windows.
Wait a minute. Death has come up into our windows. That, when they come up in your windows, ain't no getting away from it. Death has come up in our windows. What does it come up in our windows to do? See, you think everything is fine. All of a sudden, death then came up in your windows. Go ahead.
And has entered into our palaces.
To do what?
To cut off the children from without.
To cut off the children from without. Go ahead.
And the young men from the streets.
And the young men from the street. That's where the young men be at, don't they? But death come up in your windows and cut them off from the street. Let's go a little further. But God is the one saying it. Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32. And we're going to pick it up at verse 8. Deuteronomy 32. See, this is how important Israel was to God. So when we messed up, he said, I'm going to do you in. But the good news is he's going to save a remnant. And a remnant that's going to obey and do what should have been done in the first place. 32 and 8. Go ahead.
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
See, that's what the Lord did. He set everything up around Israel. That's how important Israel is to him. That's why even Jesus, when he came, since Jacob, Israel, whose name was changed to Israel, since he had 12 sons, 12 tribes of Israel, when Jesus came, what he had? 12 apostles. He had some more followers, but he stopped it at 12 apostles. Because everything is set up according to this. He said when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel. Jesus had 12 apostles, 12 hours in a day, 12 in a night, 12 months in a year. New Jerusalem in Revelation 21 got 12 gates on it, and you can go on and on. The Lord set it up. That's how important Israel is to him. But by Israel being so important, he going to make sure we get hurt for this disobedience. He made sure we was going to get hurt so bad, he said, you can call for the wailing women already. Get them women that know how to cry good at a funeral. Call for them already, because I got something for you. Man, he going to tell you here. He set everything up from around Israel, verse 9.
For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
See, that's the Lord's portion, Israel. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. But what did Jacob do? We just saw already. We went contrary to God. That's how you can identify Jacob. Jacob got cursed. Skip over to verse 16 and go ahead.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods.
See, that's what we did. We don't think it's no problem worshiping God any way we feel like it. But you worshiping a strange God when you don't do what the God of this Bible tell you. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. Go ahead.
With abominations provoked they him to anger.
With abominations provoked they him to anger. Go ahead.
They sacrifice unto devils, not to God.
See, that's what we making sacrifices and singing and dancing. But if you're not walking with the God in truth, the God of this Bible, then you sacrifice it to the devil, not to God. Go ahead.
To gods whom they knew not. To new gods that came newly up.
See, our forefathers didn't know nothing that wasn't serving the God of Christmas. They wasn't around December 25th giving presents to one another to honor no so-called God. They wasn't even getting them a turkey on a Thursday and Thanksgiving to thank God. Don't you know Thanksgiving in the Bible many times, and not one time do it say set aside a Thursday in November to do it. See, but these are other gods. If it's not honoring the God of this Bible, who do you think is honoring? So you call yourself having worship, having a sacrifice. You go to church every Sunday, which the God of this Bible didn't tell you to do. Then you set aside a Thursday and get you some turkey and dressing. Then you got Easter and Christmas. He said they sacrifice unto devils, not to God, to gods whom they knew not. Then he said to new gods. See, you can make up a god tomorrow and dedicate something to him. Say from now on, every Tuesday, we're going to have a fish fry to honor God. Look, that's a new god you just made up. To new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Verse 18.
Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee. And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them, because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters.
See, this is what happened. This is what got us in trouble. We started worshiping all kind of false gods, and when the Lord saw it, he got mad. He said when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them. Now remember, he set everything up around this people. But when we crossed the line, he said he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and the daughters. Because the Lord don't take anything. We dealing with a dangerous God, and we don't know it, and still don't know it. That's why the title is Israel, O Israel, when will we learn? Go ahead.
And he said, I will hide my face from them.
See, he said, I'm going to hide my face from them. See, that's what's going on. See, God don't have to come down here and do nothing to you. All God got to do is say, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to protect you. I'm going to let what happened to you happen to you, and everybody else going to come and start beating you up. And God he's not even going to raise a finger to help you. That's all God got to do. That's what he said. I will hide my face from them. Go ahead.
I will see what their end shall be.
It's not good. Go ahead.
For they are a very forward generation. Children in whom is no faith.
No faith. See, faith was back here. Israel just didn't exhibit any. Go ahead.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God.
See, we provoke God to jealousy. We start worshiping false gods, which are no gods, doing things contrary to him. We're going to dedicate ourselves to some false gods. That provoked God to jealousy. See, God then flipped it back on us. Now he provoking us to jealousy with people. Letting them do anything to you. And they get away with it. Go ahead.
They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
See, he said, I'm going to provoke you to anger and jealousy with the foolish that people do you wrong. See, and that's what messed the Gentiles up. Even when slavery was harder, I don't say it's over because we know it's not over yet. It won't be over till you leave from where you've been held captive here and go home. But even when it was harder, when slavery was much harsher, things have gotten somewhat better. Like I said, the leasing got a little longer. But when it was much harder, the Gentiles show you their mentality. They really was believing their own doo-doo. They were smelling their own doo-doo, thinking that they just were so much smarter than Israel. They had it legally on the books that Israel, that we were 3/5 of a man. They had it legally put that way. This made it like, see, we just, they not a real man, so that's why we can do this. No, you fooled yourself now. You fooled yourself. And still, some of that thinking still persists. That's why they don't have no problem saying, look, we can kill one of them because they nothing but some animals anyway. Look, I want to know, really. I understand God did it. But how in the heck did the one that get brought over here and mistreated all the time get treated like an animal? How in the heck all of a sudden he the bad guy and he the animal now? That never ceased to amaze me. But the thing is, I know that God is the one allowed it to happen. But what I'm saying is, the Gentiles need to wake up and realize, look, God is the one made this happen. You not better than nobody. You didn't make this happen on your own. You haven't been able to be over this people because you just so much smarter and wiser. This is what God is saying here. He said, look, verse 21, talk about Israel. They have provoked me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with the foolish things. That's what God is doing. 22, go ahead.
For a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell.
Go ahead.
And shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains.
See, God is mad at us. That's what's going on. And that's what everybody needs to recognize, especially Israel, but not just Israel, the other people who've been mistreating Israel, because Israel has been mistreated. Make no mistake about it. But they need to realize that's happening because God was upset with us. Go ahead.
I will heap mischiefs upon them.
See what God said? He said, I'm going to heap mischief. Who have more mischief heaped upon them than Israel, than us? Go ahead.
I will spin my arrows upon them.
You know it's rough when God say he going to spin his arrows on you. Go ahead.
They shall be burnt with hunger, and devoured and devour with burning heat.
You name it. Go ahead.
And with bitter destruction.
What else?
I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them. With the poisons of serpents of the dust.
So he naming all kind of stuff, brothers and sisters, and you can't attribute that. You can't blame man for every bad thing that happened to you. You know, you can't blame Gentiles for Israelites killing one another in the streets. So he naming all kind of stuff. What else? 25.
The sword without.
The sword without.
And terror within.
And terror within. Go ahead.
Shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hair.
See, everybody get destroyed. The young man, the virgin, the suckling, and the man of gray hair. 26.
And I said I would scatter them into corners.
And that's where we at. Go ahead.
I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
And that's why we don't even remember who we were. We lost. We've been Negro, colored, black, Afro-American. We done forgot who we were. And nobody else acknowledges who we were because he said he going to cause the remembrance of them to see. That don't mean we was going to get annihilated. He let you know it's still some here. That's why he said, I'm going to scatter you in the corners. I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Verse 27, he going to tell you he going to get to rectifying it, though, too. Go ahead.
Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely.
He said, look, this didn't happen because I feared the wrath of the enemy. He said, this didn't happen because of the enemy, like the enemy was so strong. He said, so the adversaries should behave themselves strangely, which is what's going on. Go ahead.
Unless they should say, our hand is high, and the Lord have not done all this.
See, that's exactly what the Gentiles have done. They say, look, we run this, our hand is high, and, you know, they don't acknowledge that God is doing this either. They don't understand where this is coming from, how it got to be this way. And the Lord warned them. He said, lest they should say, our hand is high. Just like they said, well, they 3/5 of a man. And really believe that. Say, our hand is high, and the Lord have not done all this. Yeah, the Lord has done all this. All of it. Go ahead.
For they are a nation void of counsel.
Now he's talking about the enemy. He's talking about the Gentiles. Go ahead.
Neither is there any understanding in them. Oh, that they were wise. That they understood this. That they would consider this latter end.
See, that's going to be a problem for the Gentiles, because even though we had this coming, but then the Lord going to have to deal with them. Because you done fooled yourself to think that you really in the right and ain't did nothing wrong. And even when the Lord said, okay, well, I was punishing my people, enough is enough, I want to bring them back home. What do you think the Gentiles are going to say? Oh, okay. Y'all, it's time for y'all to go now. No, they're going to do just like Pharaoh. We like it like this now. And they're not going to want to stop. They're not going to want to let the slaves go. Even though some people say, you know, some Gentiles say, you know, well, why don't y'all go back to Africa where y'all came from? Well, hey, Somebody need to send us back because we didn't come on our own. But see, that ain't going to happen. It's going to happen when the Lord take Israel back and the Gentiles not going to let go willingly. Because they think that they have orchestrated all of this and are on top ruling by their own means instead of acknowledging that God let it happen like this. He said, 29, oh, that they were wise and that they understood this, that they might consider their latter end. Verse 30.
How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them and the Lord had shut them up?
See, he gave an example. He said, look, people need to realize, how should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them and the Lord has shut them up? In other words, how can this people do this other people in so perfectly unless the Lord is against us? The Lord has to be against us for this to keep happening to us, for history to keep repeating itself, and we haven't learned yet. Go ahead.
For their rock is not as our rock.
But now that's good. I'm sorry. Go to. We're gonna wrap it up. Go to Zechariah 11. Zechariah 11. See, but now, it's something for everybody here. The title is Israel, O Israel, when will you learn? But hey, the Gentiles need to realize too that the Lord allowed this to happen for our disobedience, not that they are smarter and better than somebody. You know, they want to look down on Israel. They just a bunch of animals. You know, like the even policeman said, well, I saw a demon. Well, hey, where did the demon come from? Something was happening to make whatever come out. But now, Zechariah 11 and verse 4. But the Lord, he called it all. He the one said it the way it is. 11 and 4. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, my God, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
See, Israel is a flock of the slaughter now. That's all that, because we've been slaughtered across the countryside. He said, thus said the Lord, feed the flock of the slaughter. Then he said, whose possessors. That means somebody is being possessed by somebody. Well, who been possessed over here in this country? This black people been possessed by the Gentiles, right? And really, again, we don't realize we still being possessed. That's why we don't run nothing, don't own nothing as a whole. He said, whose possessors slay them. But worse than your possessors slaying you, what do your possessors think about when they slay you? And this is what we've been seeing all along. This is something that the Lord had written in the Bible, so when you see it, you know where it's coming from. Read it again, verse 5. Go ahead.
Whose possessors slay them.
They slay them, then what?
And hold themselves not guilty.
Oh, and they not guilty at all, are they? Isn't that what we've been seeing? So why should we not know that the Lord is orchestrating it? Your possessors slay you and hold themselves not guilty. That's even if it's get to be a trial. If it get to be a trial, it's not guilty, right? But now they getting so slick, they say, we ain't going to go through no trial for this. We know they ain't did nothing wrong. They ain't did nothing wrong. Just doing their job. And they shouldn't have been resisting. Yeah, but that didn't call for the death penalty. Like they had this guy on the news, he pointed out that the grand jury was so slick in Ferguson, not the grand jury, but the prosecutor who's supposed to be trying to get the policeman arrested and prosecuted. They so slick, the assistant prosecutor going to give them an old law where the law used to be that the police could shoot people that's fleeing away, which is what happened at first. They used to be able to shoot people that's fleeing, but really that law is outdated. But that's what they told the people. That's what they gave to the grand jury, outdated law. And then going to halfway, didn't even correct it really at the end. after 3-4 weeks, a month of testimony at the end before it's all done. Well, we want to, just mention something. We gave you something in the beginning. It really wasn't quite right. It wasn't really wrong, but it wasn't right. Folded in half. And really, something in there that, just so convoluted. I understand why the grand jury wasn't going to find them guilty anyway. Wasn't going to even find them liable. Because that's all that was. But even if, they just say, look, we're going to save the taxpayer some money. There's no need to have no trial because he's not guilty. Same thing in New York, but it's been going on. Again, people say, well, if they had a videotape, well, they didn't have videotapes, right? So we know a videotape wouldn't matter. It didn't matter with Rodney King. Had the videotape. Then went to trial. What come out the trial? What he said right here. Read it again, verse 5.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
But what we need to understand, the Lord is allowing this. He had it written in the word. Your possessors slay you and they hold themselves not guilty. And then you've been sold like cattle and other people then got rich. Slave owners then got rich from selling slaves and buying slaves. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. What else?
And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord.
And they that sell them praise the Lord, don't they? And they don't feel like they should feel bad about it. Go ahead.
For I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
See, and they don't feel bad because Israel's own preachers don't pity them. They won't tell them nothing, won't help them at all. Only thing the preacher's trying to do is get a piece of the pie. They want to be like the Gentiles, like the slave owners. They not trying to help nobody. Their own shepherds don't pity them. See, that's why they always got preachers standing up with the lady who done lost her son on TV. But the problem with that is he haven't told them none of this in the first place. Then they would know what's going on. Let's go further. Go to Isaiah 42. But this is in the Bible, but we still don't know that this all came about for our disobedience. And the Lord is making it happen. It can't happen if the Lord didn't want it to happen, brothers and sisters. But when will we learn that this is happening by way of the Lord, only by way of the Lord, because the Lord is mad at this people if you believe in God. And he keep letting this same stuff happen, keep letting you get done in, keep letting you get hit in the face. And it's so clear. That's why he said, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, because it's clear to the people who being slayed that there's some guilt there. But in the other people's minds who doing the slaying, it's just as clear to them, ain't nobody did nothing wrong. So it's like two different worlds, right? And it's always like that. Across the board. Even you see some of these TV pundits, even most of the black pundits, even the black lawyers, they be like, yeah, this, it's wrong. But then they got the white lawyers, oh no, they couldn't charge them with that. There wasn't enough evidence. And the black lawyer like, what was you watching? All just across the board, it's like two different worlds. Same thing with years ago with O.J. Simpson. All the Gentiles knew he was guilty. See, that's one time Israel thought they won one. We thought we got one. And I'm talking about Israel was rooting for O.J. Say, look, we need to win one once in a while. And I'm talking about then Israel across the board Black people like, hey, he innocent. From what I see at the trial, it don't look like he, I don't see that they prove him guilty. But Gentiles just saw, he guilty. He guilty. You know he did it. Two different worlds, right? But that's what the Lord said. Isaiah 42 and verse 22. Go ahead.
But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
See, this is Israel. Israel done had everything taken, robbed and spoiled. I mean, you just been plundered. You just been raped of everything. This is a people robbed and spoiled. Go ahead.
They are all of them snared in holes.
Snared in hole. A hole is some type of trouble. Snared in a hole. Even I knew, they don't say it that much no more, but brothers used to have a saying all the time. Ask a brother, man, how you doing? Oh, man, I got one foot in the hole, the other one on the banana peel. That means, hey, he was in the hole, and he wasn't in there no way to get out, because the one little foot he had some leverage on, he said he was on a banana peel. So he's all the way in the hole. But he hadn't even read this. The Lord told you that. He just didn't give you the banana peel. This is the people robbed and spoiled. They're all of them snared in holes. And where else they trapped at?
And they are hid in prison houses.
And again, and that's why they justify shooting. They said, well, y'all committing all the crimes. Come on, everybody commit crimes. And it's so less of Israel. It's so many more other people. Something is unbalanced. And even Gentiles that's in the criminal justice system. They say, we know it's a problem with the criminal justice system. But every case pop up, a lot of them say, well, this ain't the one, though. They was justified in killing them. This ain't the one. We got to find another one. But look, we'll point out some that is the case, because they admit it's a problem with the criminal justice system. Well, here you go right here. The Lord made it this way. He said this people robbed and spoiled. They all snared in holes. They are hid in prison houses. So you could be the minority, but in prison you're going to be the majority. Go ahead.
They are for a prey, and none deliver it.
See, that means somebody doing something wrong, brothers and sisters. So you ain't just hid in prison houses because you the only one committing crimes. No. They don't have no problem having a grand jury charge and then another jury convict Israel. It ain't no problem. And the prosecutor not going to go to the grand jury half-stepping when they send a case to them to try to charge an Israelite. Now, the prosecutor going to go full force. He ain't going to do like they did in this case with the cop and just lay everything out there, stuff that's going to help him. They don't do that. The prosecutor don't do that. The prosecutors show the grand jury what they want the grand jury to see so they can get a case against the person. They can have some stuff that might look favorable to the criminal. They won't show that to the grand jury because they're not trying to help the one they trying to charge. That show you how bogus the grand jury was with this guy, with the policeman. Not the grand jury, but the prosecutor. Or they used the assistant prosecutor because the prosecutor stayed out of it, but still he had the assistant stack the deck for the one who they were supposed to be trying to come up with a case against. At any rate, this shows you somebody is being done wrong when he say they hid in prison houses. They are for a prey. A prey means you being taken advantage of. You being preyed upon. And what happened? You for a prey? He talking about this nation, this people. Go ahead.
And none deliver it.
And don't nobody deliver. You being taken advantage of. You being choked to death in the street on camera. Ain't nobody going to save you. Ain't nobody going to even be accountable for it. Go ahead.
For a spoil.
For a spoil. You being spoiled. What else?
And none saith, restore.
And don't nobody say restore. Look, we took everything from them. We had them work for free, built the country up off free labor from slavery, worked people like dogs, mistreated them, treated them like dogs. We know we shouldn't have done that, but it's over with now, though. We don't even want to talk about it. That was history. That happened a long time ago. It ain't been that long ago. But yet, even stuff still happening now. So, but he said, none delivered, they for a spoil, and none said, give back, pay them back something. Give them something back. Restore. But who's allowing it? God making this happen, and God is trying to see who going to recognize that he is in control of this. When will we learn that he's the one in control? If you go to church every Sunday and you still catch hell every Monday, maybe you need to figure something out when you go back Sunday. Maybe you need to stop going on Sunday. But go ahead.
Who among you will give ear to this?
Now he said, all this drama happening to this people. Who going to pay attention? Who among you will give ear to this? Go ahead.
Who will hearken and hear for the time to come?
Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Go ahead.
Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers?
Now, who did it? Now, most of us, we read what the white man been doing us in. It's the white man's fault. He been spoiling us. He been robbing us. He been killing us. We read where the Lord say he slayed the young men. Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Who did it? Go ahead.
Did not the Lord?
Did not the Lord. The Lord did it. We tried everything but going to the Lord for the help we need. Did not the Lord? Go ahead.
He against whom we have sinned.
And that's why we sinned against him. We broke his law. And we still perpetuate that because our preachers tell us we don't have to keep the law. Preachers tell us the law done away with. That's not in the Bible. He against whom we have sinned. Go ahead. So the Lord messing us up, putting us in prison, how? Allowing people to slay Israel and not be held accountable. The Lord doing it. He against whom we have sinned, for we would not walk in his ways. Go ahead.
Neither were they obedient unto his law.
Neither were we obedient unto his law. So what the Lord, he been doing us in. And he give you a good analogy how bad he been doing us. What did he say, 25?
Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger.
The Lord is mad, and you can see his fury upon us as a people. He done poured it upon us. The fury of his anger, and what happened?
And the strength of battle.
And the strength of battle. Go ahead.
And it have set him on fire round about.
See, and the Lord, when he poured his anger on, he said that fire, it has set us on fire round about. Go ahead.
Yet he knew not, and it burned him. He laid it not to heart.
Now, you know you really not paying attention. You really haven't learned your lesson. If the Lord say he done set you on fire and you are not, and you don't even know it, how in the world can anybody be on fire and not know it? That shows you are really blind. You really not paying attention to what's going on and recognizing. That's why the title is Israel, O Israel, when will we learn? He said set him on fire round about, and he knew it not. He's talking about this people. And it burned him. You getting burnt. And then you turn around until something happened like what happened to some of the young men and it make the news, you think everything okay. You getting burnt and you don't even lay it to heart. Somebody tell you, man, you a slave, you in captivity. I ain't no slave. And then you get mad when they just take advantage of you, like a slave. But you just said you wasn't no slave. You don't lay it to heart. You burn it, and you don't even know it. Let's go to Jeremiah 2. Jeremiah 2. And verse 8. Jeremiah 2 and verse 8. Okay, go ahead.
The priest said not, where is the Lord? And they that handle the law knew me not.
See, this is Israel's problem. When we was in the land, the priests didn't know the Lord, and they that handled the law, these so-called lawyers in the word, they don't know the Lord. Go ahead.
The pastors also transgressed against me.
See, told you the leaders, like Jesus said, they keep away, they hide the key of knowledge, hold back the key of knowledge. The pastors transgress against me, God said. Go ahead.
And the prophets prophesied by Baal, and walked after things that do not profit.
This is what got us in trouble again. Go ahead.
Wherefore I will yet plead with you, saith the Lord, and with your children's children, and will I plead.
Go ahead.
For pass over the isles of Shittim, and see, and send unto Kedar, and consider diligently.
Consider diligently and see what?
And see if there be such a thing.
Such a thing as what? Go ahead.
Have a nation changed their gods? Which are yet no gods?
See, we the only people did this. We had the real God. See, we deserve to get some drama. Because he said, have the nation change their God. See, and we need to understand this because once we understand this, we can hold back from trying to blame everybody else. Even though I know people wrong. I know wrong when I see wrong. But when you understand that God is orchestrating it for what you did, then, hey, you can hold back on trying to point the finger so much because you know God is doing something here. God is mad. He said, look, this is what Israel did. Israel is a terrible people. That's why it's hard to point the finger at other people, even when they wrong, when you so terrible. He said, hath the nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods? That's what he's going to tell you. This is what he wants you to consider if there be such a thing. Verse 11.
But my people have changed their glory for that which does not profit.
That's what Israel did. Verse 12.
Be astonished, O ye heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid.
He said the heavens need to be astonished and be scared to death. For what?
Be ye very desolate, saith the Lord.
Uh-huh.
For my people have committed two evils.
See, we our own worst enemy. We committed two evils. Go ahead.
They have forsaken me, the fountain of living water.
That's the first one. We forsook the Lord. He's the fountain of living water. Oh, we had a whooping coming then. But that's only one evil. Go ahead.
And hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water.
See, not only did we forsake the true God, then we got some false gods and going to worship them. Go ahead.
Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
See, we had our own land. But he asked the question, is Israel a servant? Well, we wasn't back here. We had our own land, but now that's where we are. We a slave now. He said, why is he spoiled? Because we disobey. Skip over to verse 30 and read that. Go ahead.
In vain have I smitten your children.
See, the Lord said, he been smiting our children. The Lord been doing it. And he said, matter of fact, you want it. I'm trying to correct you. You hard-headed. You stiff-necked. I've been smiting your children. Did God come down and smite some kids? Nope, he don't do that, do he? But he let somebody else smite them. No good reason. Really, according to man's standards of law, they don't even deserve to die. But God is upset. He trying to show you how wrong we are as a people. He said, in vain I have smitten your children, because he keep doing it, and he said, you still won't learn. You still won't recognize that I'm doing it. I'm in control. I'm making this happen. In vain I have smitten your children, and they what?
They receive no correction.
And they receive no correction. That's why the title, Israel, O Israel, when will we learn? They receive no correction. Go ahead.
Your own sword have devoured your prophets like a destroying lion.
See, we hate people like us that just tell the truth the way it is. Because we want to believe, we want to have it sugar-coated, but sugar-coated don't work when the Lord's smiting your children. You find out that's not what you need. Verse 33, read that.
Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways.
See, we worship false gods left and right, And then, like I said, we want to blame the other people. Like we blame other people, say, yeah, see, they taught us how to do wrong over here in this country. Look, we was wrong before we got here. That's why we got drug over here. We was wrong. See, so we don't need to be caught up in pointing the finger. And whatever somebody else is doing wrong, the Lord can handle that. We got to get our act together with God. That's why he said, why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? You know, we wanted to be in love with everybody anyway. We wanted to be worship all their gods. He said, therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. So we can't blame the wicked for being wicked when ultimately we didn't taught them how to be wicked. We the ones taught them how to be wicked. Because we should have taught them about God the right way. So much for keep pointing the finger at other people. Verse Matthew 23. We're going to wrap it up. Matthew 23. See, even Jesus, he lamented over Israel because even when he came, we such a stiff-necked people. Jesus didn't go preach to nobody but us. And we such a stiff-necked people, we wouldn't listen to him. And he was God in the flesh. And we wouldn't listen to him. So you know we was going to be in trouble. Here God come down to try to straighten this people out, and we wouldn't listen. And he said it. 23 and 37. Matthew 23, 37. Go ahead.
Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem.
Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem was Israel's capital before we got kicked out into slavery. He said, my people have gone into captivity because they had no knowledge. Well, we in captivity. Jesus was going to mention it a little bit here. So the title is Israel, O Israel, when we learn what Jesus was lamenting Israel back here. Because that was Israel's capital. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. That do what?
Thou that killest the prophets.
Thou that killest the prophets. See, we didn't want to be corrected at all. We was in our land. God had people telling us the right way. We kill them. And then we think we're going to get some peace when he kick us out the land. Go ahead.
And stonest them which are sent unto thee.
Go ahead. And stone is the ones that God sent to you. That's what we do. Go ahead.
How often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not.
See, Jesus is saying, talking to his people Israel, because you can't talk to no town without dealing with the people of the town. So when he said Jerusalem's rule, he's talking about the people. He's talking about Judah, the people of Israel. He said, look, you stone is the ones I sent to you, and how often I would have gathered y'all together and fixed this thing as a mother hen gather her chickens under her wings, but you wouldn't listen. You would not. You didn't want me to do it. So now guess what? Verse 38.
Behold, your house is left unto you desolate.
See, and we got kicked out of our house. We don't even have no house no more. We don't even know where home is. We in somebody else's land and don't have a land to call our own right now because he kicked us out. He said, your house is left unto you desolate. And because you didn't listen when you had an opportunity, we did wrong. What now? 39.
For I say unto you, ye shall not see me henceforth, till you shall say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord.
See, in other words, he's saying, I'm not going to leave you out there forever, but it's going to be a while. You got to wait on it now. This is what he's telling us here. He said, I would have been took care of you if you would have listened. You hard-headed. Jesus is talking about this same situation. He said, I often would have fixed this thing, but you wouldn't listen. Now your house is desolate. You going into slavery. He let us know that in other places. Luke 21, verse 24, he said, you're going to be led away captive into all nations. He said, your house is left desolate, and I say unto you, you should not see me henceforth until you say, blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord. In other words, you're going to be messed up until a set time. Now, because you wouldn't listen. You got to wait on your redemption now. You're going to keep going through hard times like this until I get ready to get you out of that situation. But thank God he's going to get us out of it. Zephaniah 3. And that's what the Gentiles got to get ready for because things not going to stay like it is now. Matter of fact, God's setting the world up for the big fall. Just like he set Pharaoh up. Pharaoh thought he was going to keep doing Israel in forever. No, eventually the Lord said, what? Let my people go. And Pharaoh didn't want to do it, did he? Well, he going to say the same thing to the nations. But in the meantime, we stuck and we suffering, going through what we going through because our disobedience. And because we didn't do right when we had the chance. Now we got to wait. Like he said, your house is left unto you desolate. Now, since you didn't listen, I would have been fixed this thing for you. But you got a hard head. Zephaniah 3:1. Go ahead.
Woe to her that is filthy and polluted. To the oppressing city.
See, they still talking about Jerusalem. See, back here was a problem. See, but the problem is not